Hi, Dave here. I'm back and trying a different location, different setup. Um, and I wanted to talk to you today about something that I didn't realize when I started this whole YouTube thing. One of the things I didn't realize, there was a lot I didn't realize back then, um, was how much garbage you pick up during the process of doing these reviews and looking at these different things. And I've seen these other channels that have reviews weekly and bi-weekly of all these different products. And I've got to wonder if these people have like a storage unit or like a shed that they keep all this stuff in, because over the years I don't do that many reviews, but when I do, I end up gathering a lot of garbage, and I still have a lot of it. I have laid out over here a bunch of the knives that I've picked up over the years, and I just kind of wanted to show you some of the older ones, some of the ones that I had picked up over the time. And we'll start with some of the original ones, some of the stuff I started off with, which would be the Walmart and Harbor Freight ones. And these are the little cheapy ones you pick up at Walmart for $5. They're really not that bad. They don't really inspire much of anything. But I mean, as far as a utility knife, they'll work. But I end up keeping these. This one I use to pick resin off of washers for my wife. This one sat in my car for the longest time in case I needed something to cut a seatbelt or something. This one I think was in the trunk of my wife's car for a while, or my car, in case I needed something. And I think I've used it to open boxes. And then there's another one. My wife has it in the trunk of her car as like a utility knife. Those are the starting ones. You then get into like Wish. This was just a joke purchase I did on Wish. It was a push knife that is literally a push knife, but I mean, it's really not that sharp. It's tiny. I mean, it's ridiculously small. The pictures made it look like a full-size dagger. Unfortunately, it really isn't. Literally, you could hang this on a keychain. But I keep it around. I don't know why. Maybe I don't want to throw it away in the garbage and some kid find it. I don't know. And then you have ones that you pick up in secondhand stores and stuff like this. This is actually a Winchester folding knife, lock blade. It's not bad. Oh, look at that. It's got a magnet stuck inside there. It's not bad. I mean, it actually has some pretty smooth action to it, and it actually looks like it has bearings in it. But it's not bad. It sits around. I don't carry it, probably because it's got a serrated edge to it, and I'm not a big fan of the serrated edge. But it is sharp. It has held its edge, and I have carried it at one point. I don't anymore. And then you get into some of the odd ones, like Bud K. You have the Cat Skinner, which is one of the originals from my channel. I did get rid of the Pakistani knife. I gave that away at one point. And then you've got, I think this came in a Bud K at one point. It had a Fire Striker sitting around here somewhere. That would be stuff falling off my little shelf over here. And then you've got the Mora I had bought from Amazon. I'm adding it to the unusual because it is a freakishly sharp knife from the factory, and it has maintained its freakishly sharpness no matter what I've done to this thing. And it is sharp. The knife literally only comes to about here. It is not a full tang, and that blade does not move. I mean, I have done unspeakable things to this, and it continues to this day. It's not even marked up. Then you have other Bud K stuff. You've got lock blades. There's the Toxic that came in a mystery box. You've got this one, which I don't even know where to start on that one. And they come in varying qualities. Here's a assisted open one. That's an Army, I believe. Haven't carried any of these. You've got Dancing Crane or Kissing Crane. Comes in. You've got, oh God, hold on. Sorry about that. And then I've got this one that came, I think this was actually another Walmart one, now that I look at it. But you end up with all this garbage. Now, there have been good as well. There has been this I got off of Amazon very inexpensively, but it is a very good knife. It has held its blade, its edge extremely well. I carry this literally daily. I use it to open boxes, letters, you name it. This has been very useful. Last Christmas, I went to Michigan, and my brother actually sharpened this for me. He actually has a sharpening system, and it was laser sharp. He sharpened this one and its brother, which is all metal one. And I swear these things are, I mean, this thing will slice you wide open. It scares the hell out of me. But these are probably the highest quality knives I own, and they have been, I mean, constant with me. These are very good. And I've heard people say, if you spend money or buy once, cry once type thing. And as far as that's concerned, I've actually have to agree with it. The only exception to that, I think, is the Mora. The Mora, I think, was an exceptionally good purchase. And then you have the really weird stuff that you get from places like Bud K, and that would be something like this, which is a push dagger. The sides are not sharp at all. They look like they've got an edge, but they really don't. The tip is incredibly sharp. This one I definitely keep out of the reach of the kids. This, all the knives, but it is designed to be worn under the arm or around the back or on the leg, and it's a self-defense dagger. Now, this one's pretty scary sharp too. On the tip, only on the tip. Just the tip. Yeah, boy. So this is another example of the really odd. And then you end up with like hatchets. This I've used quite a bit. It works still. It is a pretty good hatchet. I've seen other people have picked them up and have given pretty similar response that I have. I mean, it's not a $50 hatchet, but it cuts like it's not a $50 hatchet, but it does cut fine. The edge is a little bit worn and could use some work, but I have not taken the time to do that yet. I will at one point, and maybe I'll record it. Do it! Everybody can use a laugh. And then you end up with like throwing knives, which I don't know about you. I've never seen a throwing knife like this. It's got a sharp edge, it's got a very weak tip, and the metal is so soft it literally bends. I've tried throwing them. They will throw, but the handle, I think, is part of the problem. And with throwing knives, do you usually have two different sides? This just looks like a set of blades. It doesn't really look like knife. Maybe at one point, I'll go through and remove the wrap, and I'll put an actual handle on these, and we'll see how that works out. I don't know. That's an idea for the future. And then the thing that fell, you end up with sets like this, where you have a rubberized handled folding knife, which honestly is not bad. This is also a Bud K special. This came in a 3-piece mystery sword set. I believe this came with this, I'm not sure what else it came with. And this. So you have what looks like a machete to me, only it doesn't have any real flex to it. And it is pretty damn sharp. The Bushmaster. Okay. Named after the beer, I'm guessing. Keep the dirty comments to yourself, please. And then this actually I find to be quite interesting, and we've used this recently for something. I will not say what. It's not for its intended use, but my wife needed a saw to cut something. I think it was for her. I don't know. She needed a saw, and the bone saw in this is pretty good, actually. But there was this, which is the skinning kit. And I've kept it. I've tried sharpening it. It does actually sharpen. The blade sharpener itself actually broke. So this is garbage. The knives themselves are not the highest quality, and they do lose their edge pretty skick. So as far as a functional set of skinning knives, I'm not 100% certain I would go to this. But if you didn't have anything else, I imagine it would work. You would just have to stop a lot and go back and sharpen the knives. And at that point, you're probably going to want to buy a different sharpener to go with it. I do have another sharpener that I have in a bag somewhere. And if I were to use this, I would probably swap out the sharpeners. But that's a portion of them. It's probably the majority portion of the knives I've gathered. I've gathered other things like hunting stuff, like camping things, things like that. I don't know if this type of thing is something that will be watched. But as far as just garbage you gather and have to store after the fact, I've found that there's a lot of it, and nobody ever talks about how much garbage they've got laying around because they've been doing all these reviews. And all of this stuff I've purchased myself. That's why it's all the low-end stuff, because I'm cheap. But the funny part of it to me is, after you've used it in a review, after you've used it, is it useful? I mean, what do you do with it? If any of you out there have a channel and you do these reviews, what do you do with this stuff when you're done reviewing it and you really don't have a use for it? Half these folding knives I don't touch. They just kind of sit in a box in my closet. Do you guys actually, do you throw them away? Do you sell them? I mean, obviously these things are worthless, but I mean, what do you do with them? Go ahead and leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you do. But that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. It was just kind of this has been bothering me. What do you do? With the gun stuff, I use the guns. I keep the guns. I like the guns. I only buy that stuff that I like. With the knives, I mean, some of the knives I buy because I like them, but some of the other stuff, like this, was well, I wonder what I'll get. And I like getting those, and I like opening them. It's just, what do I do with it when I'm done? So that's kind of my thought. This has kind of been in my head. I'm going to put this in my pocket now. But if you have any information for me, if you think that what you do might help me on this stuff, let me know. But this is Dave, and we'll see you next time.